Okay, so welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a quick recap of Striking Out Season 2, Episode 5. Okay, so it's the morning after. Tara and Sam spent the night together. She got up and out before he got up. She left a little cute note on the mirror and lipstick. It was cute or whatever, but she got on to start her day. So she's, went for a run and he's just getting out of bed. And of course, they're playing over the night before. It was very dramatic, very slow, and they wrote music and the whole thing. It was just, okay, fine. And in the end, you can see Tara, she's kind of like standing there looking over the water, and she had like this grin on her face, like, girl, you did that shit. It was just so crazy. Like, I can imagine this is going to turn out absolutely horrible. It could potentially turn out horrible, but okay. So, so Nigel, who is the contractor, he is at the office. So he's at the office with Richard of all people, because Nigel is actually Eric's client, and McGrath, who I think is the Minister of Health, is Richard's client. So leading up to this point, you can kind of hint that Richard has basically been hinting at, if somebody's going to take the fall for this whole thing, it's going to be Nigel. And so Nigel is standing in the conference room and he receives a phone call. It's Eric. He lets it go to voicemail. And so, of course, at that point, Richard walks in and asks who was on the phone. And basically, Richard basically tells Nigel that, okay, you're going to basically tell him you're going to have to take the L on this. And, of course, he was like, I ain't doing no such thing. What the hell are you talking about? No, not me. Eventually, during this conversation, Nigel is standing there basically saying, like, I'm not your son. You don't just, you can't just stand there and talk shit to me. I'm not taking the fall for it. Da. And so two guys walk into the conference room. And you don't see their faces and you don't really know, so you don't know who they are. But Nigel's whole demeanor changed. Okay. So Eric finally arrives to the office. Sam shows up. And of course, just brothers talking, and he was like asking him, like, "Why are you hanging out here? Shouldn't you be out and about? Just getting into some stuff, meeting women or whatever, whatever guys do to waste time." He's basically, like no, I just, he's just here, just there hanging out. And so Lucy calls Eric and let her know that, okay, let's say Corrine O'Brien is there to see him. So before she can even, I guess, finish telling Eric what was going on, Kareem comes barreling through his office door, and he's just like, "Oh shit, this is the last thing I need to deal with today." No, okay. If you don't, at this point, if you don't remember who Kareem was, then she is the lady who was caught up in the bigamist situation, where she was the first wife, and then there was another wife, Julie, claiming to be the wife, and the whole thing from season 1. Okay, so she's back down because her and oh boy Barry is not seeing, they ain't seeing eye to eye, and she basically wants a settlement. She wants a separation and a settlement. So George, so we go flash to George, and she's meeting with the ombudsman who was doing research into Ray's case to find out what's going on with these officers and who hired them, trying to find out everything that she find out that she could. And so she was able to get some name and numbers from the files, and she ends up hiring Meg to do research for her. And Meg actually found out who the guard was that arrested Bray, and went back and obviously shared the information with George. So at this point, she's still working for George, trying to get as much information as she can on the individuals. Okay, so Tara's leaving out of a coffee shop and she's heading to the office, and Sam, surprise, pops up, and she's, of course, taken off guard, like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I mean, I can imagine it's an awkward situation. You've known this man for however many years. He's your ex-fiance's brother. And you can tell that he's like all in, like he's all in. It could have, you get the feeling that it's the kind of situation where he's been kind of into Tara for a while, but of course she was off limits because she was engaged to his brother. But so he is not at all bothered by the situation, but of course Tara's kind of, you could tell it's like unsettling to her. Even though she's enjoying it, she could tell she's like being with him, but it's just a bad, like I say, potentially horrible situation, right? So backtrack. So when Sam went to see Eric in the office, gave him like a recap of the whole argument or blow up that Tara and him had in the restaurant the night before, regarding them putting basically put a stop to the trial because of a conflict of interest, because saying that Tara used to work for their law firm, but now she's working on the inquiry, so it was a conflict of interest. So it was a whole big thing, and so you could tell at the time that Eric told Sam that he was kind of like, oh, okay. And so at this point, he's questioning her about the issue with what happened at the restaurant. And so basically, Tara confirms that no, she enjoyed herself, that he wasn't a rebound, because I mean, she was upset maybe when she went over there. So you do get the impression that she went over there basically to stick it to Eric, because Eric was such an asshole to her. And so and so she was basically saying, "Oh, but you basically just doing a recap of what happened." And Sam was basically like, Eric probably deserved it. And so they hugged, and went their ways to get their day started. So because she has to get to the office. I don't know if he took Meg up on her offer, but Ray he actually decided to go back to school. So he's heading to, I guess it's his first day of class. And who walks in as a guest speaker? Vincent. So that was an awkward situation. They kind of made eye contact, and Ray was kind of insecure, kind of embarrassed, because at this point the only person that knew that he wanted to go back to school was Meg. So, but after the class, I'm sorry if you heard that. I don't know what I was doing. After the class, Vincent kind of ran up, because you can see Ray kind of power walking out of the building, because he just didn't want to deal with Vince and his shenanigans. He knew Vince was going to clown him a little bit. And so, but it was a really funny, situation. They really do have like I don't want to say a father-son relationship, but they have really cool, a really cool relationship. And so they went for drinks and had a good laugh, and it was all good. So Karina returns to the office with her son, I can't remember his name right now, to discuss what she's trying to get from Barry, with this divorce and whatever settlement that she can get. And she basically showed up with a book of Barry's secrets. So she's been with the man for years. The man is in organized crime, so you can imagine the vault of information fountain of information that she could be regarding his illegal activities. And so, of course, Eric is like, oh, shit, I don't even know if I want to do this. She was basically like, I want to stick it to his ass, and I want to get everything that I can get my hands on. And you're going to do it for me. And that's basically her attitude. And you can tell he is just so disgusted with her. Like, she's so abrasive and crude and just crass. She's a lot. She's a lot. I can't remember the actress' name, but she played the hell out of that role. It's like, damn, bitch, sit down somewhere. Just go sit down. Girl, and shut up. So, it's after the meeting with Eric. Karina is out walking. She receives a phone call. At this point, you don't really know who's calling her, but then you later find out that it was Julie, Barry's current wife, or whatever their situation is. Considered not his current wife, because him and Karina still married. So his other lady, whatever. And it was her calling to meet with Karina, because she didn't want this to be a whole big thing, because it's going to draw attention to Barry and his activities and, how much involvement she has in his business affairs now. It's going to cause a whole big problem. And so she wanted to meet with Karina to discuss settling everything quietly. And so they came up with some, agreement that they would meet, that Barry and Karina would meet without anyone's intervention, meaning her and all the attorneys, and they would try to come up with some type of agreement. Eric asked Lucy if she's heard anything from Fitzjames. Now, Fitzjames is I don't know what I called him before. Fitzjames, Nigel. Because Eric has still been trying to get in contact with him, but he hasn't been returning any of Eric's phone calls. And Lucy basically tells him, no, she hadn't heard anything. And then Richard asks Eric to withdraw from the adjournment. That was the adjournment. That's what he filed to stop the proceedings with the inquiry because of the conflict of interest BS, right? So all of a sudden, Richard tells Eric, oh, well, we could just drop the adjournment. And of course, Eric is sitting there spinning like, why? What's going on? Why? And so at this point, obviously, he still doesn't know about the meeting that Nigel that's already been discussed. earlier. So he's standing there like, I don't know what the hell is going on. Tara goes to Dunbar goes to the office, to Eric's office, and she apologized for the scene that happened at the restaurant because Eric is representing Karina, Tara is representing Barry, her soon-to-be ex-husband. And so she apologized for, the whole blow up at the restaurant. And they both agreed that it would be best to handle everything quietly. And so so at this point, Tara doesn't know. So Eric tells, so I'm assuming Karina called Eric to let him know that she wanted to meet with him and just handle everything quietly. But at this point, Tara doesn't know that. And so he tells her, she's kind of surprised, like, okay, it's the first I've heard of it. And so Vincent, the fact that Vincent finally arrives at work and he finds out, Joe tells him, I hope that's that man's name, that the adjournment has been withdrawn, the complaint has been withdrawn, and so they can continue with the inquiry. Okay, so we get to the meeting. Okay. So we get to the meeting of Barry and Karina. So Karina selected the location. So they get there and they're trying to figure out, well, why does she... they're talking about the meaning of the location. It's basically where her and Barry got married. So that's why she chose the place. And he was like, why the hell would she choose this place? She's just doing this to mess with me and da-da-da-da-da. And so... So Tara and Barry get there first. You see Eric and Karina walking up, just pulling up, walking through the door. And so basically, Barry is standing on one side of the hall, Karina's standing on the other. And so Eric and Tara kind of meet in the middle to have their conversations, and then they go back to their respective clients to pass along messages. So that basically it's to keep them from having to talk directly to each other. So basically, Eric gives Tara a piece of paper basically saying what the amount Karina wants, which is like $2.5 million. So Tara takes the paper and gives it to Barry. Barry scratches that shit out and put like 2,500K. I don't know. He put some number that was significantly lower. And she walks over to give it to Eric. Eric takes it over. And at this point, Julie shows up. Now, she wasn't supposed to be there. So I think had Julie not shown up, things wouldn't have gotten as bad as it did. So it's like, bitch, if the whole point was for them to deal with this shit quietly, why are you there? Just, okay, whatever. But she shows up, and of course, all hell breaks loose because now Karina's like, we had an agreement that we would be able to meet without any interruptions. What the hell are you doing here? And so at that point, Eric and Tara are looking at each other like, what the hell are they talking about? So Eric knew that they wanted to meet, but they didn't know that they had a plan. They had already met and discussed the meeting amongst themselves. And so they're looking like, what the hell is going on here? What are you talking about? What meeting? What's going on? So they're basically thrown off, right? About what the hell is going on. So Eric and Tara are going they're trying to keep their clients under control. Tara's asking Barry, like, what is she doing here? He's like, I don't know. She always knows where I am. I don't know what the hell. So Julie had an issue with the fact that they met because Julie know that where they were, that's where her and Barry got married. And so Julie had a problem with that. And it's like, bitch, shut up. She is far from that meek and mild woman that you saw in the first season. She's actually goddamn annoying, okay? She's not as bad as Karina, but she almost. It's like, what? Why are you even there? What the hell does it matter why she chose the place that they chose? If the whole point was to keep the shit on low key, you showing up there with your 2 cents is not helping the situation. And so basically, when it was all said and done, Karina was like, I want every damn thing. I don't even want to do this anymore. I want every damn thing. Right? And so she wants the gym. So this whole thing was one of the concerns that Barry has. That I think she's going to go after the gym. And initially, as you saw with the first offer, she didn't want the gym. She just wanted the $2.5 million. But after Julie showed up with all her bullshit, that's when she said, I want the gym and I want the money. I want all of it, right? And so they basically storm off. And then who's left in the dust? The son. So he's standing there watching his parents go at it. It was just the most disgusting. He was so embarrassed. He was hurt. It was just a horrible sight. And so he eventually storms out. Tara goes after him, and she was basically, trying to console him, let him know, she's probably very apologetic. I'm sorry that you had to witness that. And he was just basically like, I'm just sick of it. He's just tired of the fighting. He wants them to settle whatever, do whatever they need to do, but go their separate ways before they kill each other. He's just sick of it. And so she basically said, Tara basically convinced him to talk to his father. It's like, he was like, what am I supposed to say? He said, your father loves you and he would do anything for you. And I think that if you went and talked to him and told him how you felt, that his response might be a little different to your mom, and you guys would be able to resolve this and move on from it. And so he kind of basically walks off without ever, at this point he didn't let on what he was going to do, because he was just still so upset. Finbar, that's the name, Finbar, that's the son's name. He goes to the gym and basically said, Dad, he basically appealed to his father, because in the previous episode, he gave his father half of his liver. His father was failure, some kind of failure, and he gave his father half of his liver, or I don't know if he gave him a kidney or something. And he was basically like, I saved your life, and basically I'm just tired of all of these things, and I feel like you owe me, and I just give Mom, basically I want you guys to resolve this so that we can get on. It was embarrassing. I'm ashamed of his family. And you can tell his father was just, he wasn't a whole lot he could say, because he know that the whole thing was just a big ass mess. And just deal with it. Just deal with it. And so you flash to Nigel. So Nigel, and so they're back at Vincent's office, and Nigel and Eric meets up. Now at this point, Eric, is trying to advise his client on, what to say, what not to say, and he's basically there, to answer additional questions. But before Vincent can really ask me any question, Nigel was basically like, I have a statement. And so, of course, Eric is sitting there like, what the hell are you talking about? What statement? We didn't go over no statement. What statement? How do you have a statement? Nigel says that him and York was in on this whole thing of defrauding the taxpayers and wasting, blowing all this money, this $18 million, and it was all a scam and fraud and this whole thing. So basically, him and York, he took responsibility for it, but also blamed York. But of course, York has already passed away. He died of a heart attack some time ago. So Eric is just sitting there reading like, what in the hell just happened? So because after Nigel read the statement, he just got up and walked out. So Eric asked him, ran out behind him. He's like, well, who asked you to do that? Who told you to do that? What is going on? And it wasn't a whole lot, he could say. He said a few words to Eric and he went on his way. And so Tara eventually comes out and she's looking, everybody's confused, like, oh my God, we can't believe he just did that, just out of the blue. And so Tara comes out and she sees Eric, he's standing in the hall, and she's like, well, do you think that he did that of his own free will, or do you think that he's been forced to do that? And Eric's like, I don't know. It feels like he was forced to do that. Something is up. He's like, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I need to get to the bottom of this. And at that point, that's when Terry was going through her purse and the letter fell out. And she accidentally on purpose let the letter drop so he could pick it up. And so he's now reading the letter that York sent to Richard. Basically talking about the previous meeting that they had. And so he's just, at this point, disgusted. He just doesn't know what to say. You can see he's kind of dazed and confused. He gives the letter back to Tara, and he walks off. So he gets back to his office, and he asks Lucy to get the visitor's log because he's for certain days. Eric receives a call while she's doing that from Tara, and basically saying that Tara wants to meet with Karina. So he's like, oh shit, now I gotta deal with this crazy bitch. Okay, so they meet at the gym, and basically they came to some agreement. They were able to come to some agreement, and he said, okay, so what are you going to do? Because now Karina lives in Spain, but she was only there to get the divorce and the settlement, get all that squared away. And so because they've come to some arrangement, Erica's like, so what are you going to do now? She said, I'm going back to Spain. I'm just, the hell with this. There's a reason for me to stay here. I'm getting my ass on out of Dodge. And so at the end, basically at the end of the episode, Eric and Sam meet up. They're at a club, and it was initially Eric was actually waiting there for Lucy, because I guess Lucy, once Lucy got off work, I guess was supposed to meet up there, but eventually, he's texting her and calling her trying to find out what's what, why she has, what time she's going to be there. And so around this time, Sam receives a call from Tara wanting him to meet her at her place. So he's like, oh, okay, sure, why not? But, he can't leave right now. He's trying to see what Eric is going to do. And so Eric receives a message from Lucy basically saying that she's not going to be there. She's not going to make it. And so, the music is going, and he's basically, they kind of basically stare at each other because, Lucy's not going to be there. And then, Sam is kind of, I don't know what he was thinking when he was looking at his brother, knowing that he's about to go and screw his ex-fiance. Whatever that case is going to be, whatever that situation is going to be. But that was basically this episode. So we only got one episode left. And I, can't wait to get to that episode to try to tie everything up. So I will talk to you guys later.